There we go. Hey guys, so if you're watching, we're here, we're live right now, and so to start off the week properly, I'm gonna get my food. Just give me a second. Hang on, wait right here. Don't go anywhere, guys. This is Sunny. Sunny, introduce yourself for a bit. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Sunny. I am, I guess, an aspiring Asian American actor, and I'm here with Christopher and just talking about things about acting, I guess.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm really hungry. Hang on. Ugh. Give me a sec. Technical. Hang on, let me get on my headphones here. Sorry, hang on. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So here you go, guys. So yes, thank you. I apologize, had to get my food. Thank you, Sunny, for waiting. To start over. So yes, we are doing a live stream interview with Sunny. Sunny Tang, point the mic away from the speaker. V, I don't have a mic. I'm just speaking directly into the computer with my headphones. Anyway, but thank you for the tip. So can you hear me okay, Sunny?
Yeah, and do you have the link or?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's me. Let's see here. Where is the link? Where's the link? Okay, you know what? Well, for some reason, it's not showing up for me. So if y'all in the audience are watching, V or anyone else who's watching, if you guys would be so kind as to type the link into the chat so that Sunny can share it with everyone, that'd be great. So while we wait for that to happen, Sunny. So yeah, let's get this interview started. So why don't you? They're ready already. So yeah. So sorry, Matt. Let me start with. So Sunny, mainly this interview will be about your acting experience, your background, all that stuff. This is part of a limited series that I do on my channel. There's basically a spotlight on actors of color, and especially I like to for this channel I like to highlight Asian men, Asian men actors, and also uh, Asian men actors and black women actors or actresses, whatever. But so in this case, yeah. So we have actually worked together one time, which is actually for probably the most popular film on this channel, which is the first channel or sorry, first movie that we did a
Mhm.
while back, and but yeah, so that for me personally, so yeah, like that was like I said, that was the first time that we did anything for this channel. This is before I was even using live stream or StreamYard or anything like that. So I didn't really, it was kind of like everything was just kind of new to me. You know what I mean? I was hoping that the movie would take off and that it would find a large audience online. Um, but for you, just going into it, like what were your thoughts? You know what I mean? Like what was your yeah, what were your thoughts like going into the like prior to filming and all that?
Yeah, so I guess going into the industry, I guess my goals are going to Asian modeling slash acting, and so
Mm-hmm.
the movie was really a great opportunity to be able to like put myself out there and be able to have an opportunity to express myself, and also at the same time, it's I guess an artistic way to put myself out there in the media. And
Mm-hmm.
as an Asian American, as you and pretty much the audience knows, it's on a rise. It's a slow rise, and so all these small opportunities are definitely things that I would like to snowball and see what will happen in
Mm-hmm.
the future. So that's
Right.
kind of my opinion on that.
Well, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And also, if you check the private chat,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that I sent you the link to this video, this interview.
Okay.
So yeah, you should be able to see it. But I also wanted to share really quickly in case no one is really familiar. If you hear, you guys aren't necessarily familiar with the work that we did together a few months ago. But I'm going to show right now. There it is. And I'm not sure, honestly. Again, I'm new to StreamYard, guys, so I don't know what I'm doing. Just between you and me. But as far as the audio goes, I don't know how to play it yet, so I'm still figuring that out. So I'm gonna play a clip, but sort of just there's not necessarily an audio. So anyway, sorry. Here we go. Enjoy. Sonny, can you hear audio or no?
I can hear your audio, but not the audio of the video.
Okay. Well, anyway, guys. So like I said, yeah, that's kind of annoying, but I apologize. But this
That's
is a
okay.
scene. This is a scene from a short film that we actually worked on together. It is the yeah. known as basically short film, the first short film. Um, and you can see we shot this. What was it, back in March? It's like
Yeah,
a
it was
few
like
months ago.
5 months ago or something.
Yeah, a while ago. It seems like yesterday, but yeah, it just flew by just like that.
Hmm.
And then and yeah, so that was basically that. So if you guys haven't checked it out, I would be surprised because that video has so many views. But if you haven't checked it out, it is on my channel. You can go under the playlist. It's under the AMBW original short films, or you can just check out from the video selection. It's on there too. Um, so, so yeah, just actually, Sunny, I think actually that was the first time we've worked together.
Yep.
But I also want to say that we actually were scheduled to work on something prior to that together.
Correct.
I think
Yep.
it was like a actual like shoot for I think for actually like another product or book that I was trying to promote on
Yep.
Amazon.
Yep.
Um, that didn't fall through because of the C word or whatever, Bud Light. But
Mhm.
but I'm glad that in a way I'm glad that it didn't work as then we got to work on this one together.
Yeah.
Um, so Sonny, I just want to know, again, like I said, this is part of the Actors of Color series and whatnot, and you've already sort of touched upon a little bit about your own goals and your own motivation for wanting to act in the industry. But can you tell us, so far, I don't know, maybe not necessarily part of this experience because our experience is pleasant for the most part. But were there any experiences in the past or recently that you had with casting directors or actors or anything like that that you were maybe stereotyped or felt stereotyped or judged by your race or like just sort of like limited by what I mean, like people's ignorant perceptions of you or Asian Americans? Was there anything like that at all?
That's a good question. I think from my experience, sorry, the audio was a little loud. From my experience, I think my acting background was at college when I was actually a part of a Asian American theater company, and so um, when I started from there, there was a lot of support and essentially being filled with a community that has a lot of other Asian Americans pursuing the same thing. It kind of actually helps shield from other stereotypes. But at the same time, I think growing up, I grew up playing sports, and so I guess Asians in sports is also a small thing. So I kind of am already like I kind of okay with the stereotypes or kind of like I already know what's going to come at me. And so because of that, I don't think that I maybe took any stereotypes too big. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. I kind of like um, grew up like that. So going to college and being in a environment where a lot of these Asian Americans experience all these things, the support kind of outweighed all those stereotypes that came in. And sure, I think there's opportunities where I may not get the role because of who I am, but what I can remember from all those experiences is pretty much just the community that I built from all the experiences growing up that was like, okay, countering all these things. I think you're muted.
I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude to Sunny or anyone. I just literally haven't eaten breakfast or lunch, and I just got off work, so I'm hungry as hell. But no, Sunny, thank you. That was very good. So I just had a question also for you, Sunny. So considering we're basically more than halfway through 2021, you know what I mean. The past few years, barring sort of Bud Light situation that we're in right now, um, we've had breakthroughs like Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians, and even lesser movies like Shang-Chi and Snake Eyes. For me personally, I call them lesser because I don't think they're necessarily groundbreaking. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because personally, I feel like okay, yes, Shang-Chi especially is a film, big budget Hollywood Marvel Studios movie, which is like the biggest brand in the world right now. However, it's still basically full of Asian stereotypes, karate, martial arts, kung fu. You know what I mean? All that stuff.
Hmm.
So that's why I refer to it as lesser. But even movies like that, right, feature cast of people of color. You know what I mean? All people of color, 98%. You know what I mean? And they're aiming for more positive representation. Um, what is your sort of like? Are you how do you like feel, or what are your hopes? You know what I mean, for the future in terms of the impact that all these movies have, what I mean, opening doors for people of color, what I mean, for hopefully ideally less stereotypes and more sort of well-rounded representation. Like how
Yeah.
do you feel about that?
No, that's a really good question, and also great examples from what you brought up. I my stance on like the movies and the media that's it's happening right now, I think there's like we can kind of categorize it to two types of movies. Some are like more of these like immigrant type movies, kind of like showing what Asian culture is. You have like Fresh Off the Boat. You have things that's like kind of showing the average American what an Asian culture is. And then you have movies like Crazy Rich Asians, which demonstrate something where it's like, okay, it's not necessarily all about, hey, what is Asian culture, but let's put some drama, let's put some romance or something to that. I think that those are the kind of the movies right now and TV shows that are what Asian actors are in. I think that the change is going to be slow, and the change should go in the direction where I guess Asians can have more breakthroughs like Black Panther or something like that. But I think the root of all that will have to start from Asian writers, Asian producers, Asian directors. Like these people understand how to take their culture and then put it into something where media can shine. And so without having those people that are really writing the roots of what the media is, because if you take like Shang-Chi, right? It's based on a Marvel, which is 80s comic book. That's the root, right? So that's what it's written. So like I think the future of what new things are being written about, or like new series of Asian TV shows or movies that are written by Asian people, that's gonna really push for things. So like yeah, that's kind of my stance on that.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And I feel like, I sort of just like kind of on an unrelated note, like the broader sort of spectrum, not just Hollywood, but like like just like general, just human beings basically in general, right? And like everyday life, what I mean. Especially when we're mostly talking, like non-Asian people, like white people, Hispanic people, Black people.
Mhm.
I feel like even though we live in a very diverse world, people's perceptions of each other are still very ignorant.
Mhm.
Excuse me. You know what I mean? And so, sorry. Um, I feel like a lot of that, I mean, yeah, a lot of that is just contributed to the fact that, a lot of people, obviously, non Asians and whatever, they tend to sort of, stay within their own comfort zone. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or they tend to, you know what I mean? Sort of just like they inherit or they're taught like the principles or whatever values by their parents. You know what I mean, from their older generation. So like I've had firsthand experience with that, with like dating outside my race and stuff like that,
Mhm.
which can be difficult. But so sorry, I'm sort of getting off tangent. My point basically is that like a lot of Asian, especially Asian American men, like to sort of put the blame or emphasis on the media and how the media portrays Asian men or Asian American men or Asian men, whatever. You know what I mean? And so they will typically sort of use the media as kind of like a scapegoat for saying, well, this is why I can't get a date like with like someone outside my race, or like a white girl, black girl, or Latina. You know what I mean? Like this is why people just basically think of me in a very sort of narrow-minded point of view. Now,
Mhm.
I was going to ask you, what is your sense of that? Do you truly believe that it's all sort of just like the media to blame for that, for those kinds of issues, um, and all that stuff? And have you ever sort of yourself sort of, sort of like went, like sort of like fell back on that kind of, I don't want to say excuse, but like reasoning. You know what I mean, for certain things that might people how maybe how like people perceive you or treat you.
I think that I think it's a mix of two things. I think in terms of how people treat me and perceive me, you're definitely gonna face stereotypes. Or I can't say you're gonna walk through this world without someone being like, "Oh, because you're Asian, X, Y, Z." But at the same time, I think there's a part of like true character. I feel like something that is deeper within each person that must you have to look beyond like what the surface says. And I think a lot of actually my own ideas in terms of or my own character development, it's like, yeah, I want to go and break those barriers in a sense, like, which is why I brought up before, like growing up, it was sports. It's like you're the only Asian guy on the team, but you're playing just as hard, or you're going to be the captain, or something like that. Going in college, it's like, oh, you're going to go and pursue this theater club and go out there, and all your friends in your other clubs maybe aren't going to do that, or maybe they're not in your major aren't going to do that, but you're going to do it because it's something that you want to do. I feel like regardless of race or whatnot, the person, like your true character of what you want to do and drive, like if that is you're achieving what you want to do rather than pleasing what other people want to do, that's kind of like everyone should be doing that. And so like allowing your race or allowing a stereotype to get in the way of what you want to do, I feel like that's just hurtful for all races. And so I think from my experience, like just putting myself out there and acting or something like that has been able to, it will separate myself because that's something that I want to do. And yeah.
So basically, I'm not trying to speak for you, but everyone, ladies and gentlemen, for watching right now, if you're watching live, this is Sunny Tang, this actor, or if you're catching the replay, this is Sunny Tang, actor. Well, basically, again, I'm not trying to, kind of paraphrasing, but I think what you're saying is great. I think what you're trying to say is, you know what I mean, like, don't let your race define who you are. You know what I mean? If you want to become an actor and you want to play sports, or you know what I mean, even just anything at all, don't set yourself up, for failure because you create those obstacles for yourself. You know what I mean? You will, like, and it's not just him speaking now. I'm also saying from my point of view, like, if you're Asian or if you're black, or if you're white, even, less so if you're white, but if you're Hispanic, a person of color, especially, you know what I mean, in the U.S. If you face adversity, right, and it is because of your race, then say fuck it. You know what I mean? Just keep trying, keep going. You know what I mean? You're better than that. But you yourself should never ever, make excuses because you are Asian, right? Because you're black, because you're Hispanic, right? Because you're a woman, whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You will never reach your fullest potential if you don't do that. Or you know what I mean? I'm sorry, no, you will never reach your full potential if you do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess like adding on to that point, it's like at the same time, you can't really do this on your own. I think that it's definitely through a community aspect. So not just you having the idea to do it, you have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded. In a sense, if you go and you can tell yourself as many times that you're not affected, you will be affected because you don't have that support to say, hey, I got your back. When in the times when you get hit by something that, unexpected, what can you do? It's society, it's the world. You have someone to have your back. And so that add on to what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel, thank you, Sonny, for saying that. Actually, I'm really, really relieved that you said that, man. Because I feel like what you just said is not really said enough, or at all, really. I feel like it needs to be said because while self love and supporting yourself and believing in yourself and having confidence are fine, and you should have those things. Like you said, sometimes things don't go your way, right? Things sometimes don't go your way, and they might not go your way for a while. And you might experience more and more disappointment. You know what I mean, just over and over again. But it does help to have moral support, emotional support, people who can relate to you. You know what I mean, so you don't feel like you're alone in that experience, whether it's failure or success or whatever. You know what I mean? It's always a good thing. Yeah, it is. Don't you know what I mean? I know this term has been used a lot, especially recently around this channel, like self love and all that stuff. But damn it, no man or no woman on this earth is an island. You know what I mean? You need, yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm not criticizing if you're a loner. If you like to be alone, that's fine. But just in general, I think it is a human trait. You know what I mean? It's people need other people, right? Especially when they're down or when they're going through a tough time or dark time, whatever. So thank you very much, Sonny. I really do want to say that. Actually, you know what? I am so happy that you said that, sir. I am so happy. You know what I'm going to give you, Sonny?
I don't know.
I'm going to give you. Damn it. I don't have. I don't have any positive clips here. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Never mind. I don't have any. I was looking for a clip to give you, but I don't have any appropriate ones. So we're gonna skip that portion. But basically, yeah. So Sonny, so that's great and all that stuff. So okay, so obviously in this interview, we won't go on forever, but we already have touched on about your ambitions in acting, and your ambitions in sports and whatnot. But what about like Sunny Tang, the person? Right? Like, who are you? Like, what are your dislikes? What are your likes? All that stuff. Like, what did you go to school for? Just why don't you tell people watching right now who Sunny Tang is?
I guess who I am. I guess this is how I would sum it up. My goal, I guess, let's put aside acting. Ultimate goal I would like to do is inspire people to do good things, and that's kind of like the real who I want to be and what I want to do. And through like acting or through playing sports, but more of like, I guess, pursuit of acting. It's like, yeah, being able to be on some platform to, hey, come on, let's do great. You do great, I'll do great. Let's do it. And so that's like, I guess, if you want to define me as a core value, that's kind of the dreams and what I want to achieve. And I think that when I talk about like likes and dislike, I guess things I dislike is pretty much not having a really good attitude. I think a lot of things are all about this attitude of what your core values are. I think a lot of people get really like clouded by like society, and they'll just put an attitude onto you. Now society will put a motive onto you, a desire onto you, when you forgot what your true desire is. So having that leads to people complaining a lot, or fake people, or very or like superficial, cool, and then they just pass by. But I think like those are the things that I would push myself to not be near, and more of the people who also strive to like do great things. I think the biggest thing in me is like to always dream big. You got to dream super big. If you don't dream super big, you won't even like, you can only achieve like whatever you dream. So if you don't dream huge, you're not going to get great things. So I guess like me growing up, I played sport. I went to school and I graduated, and I'm just on my journey on this journey. Yeah. You can, I guess, ask me any question you want.
No, absolutely, Sunday. Thank you very much. And I know that the answer is kind of maybe like a bit broad or whatever, but I do believe that you dropped some very, very valuable gems. I do. Everyone, I want to stress that this guy knows what he's talking about, because how I see Sonny, and I don't know you very well, Sonny. It's just putting it out there. We're not like really tight or anything like that. We haven't known each other forever, but from what, and I'm sure the other people in the chat will share my sentiment too. You strike me as the type of guy who is a realist. You're striking me as the type of guy who maybe has been through some tough times, but is still persistent, right? And is still trying to keep optimistic point of view. But you also seem like someone who is, like I said, realistic, right? Realistic about certain things. Number one, like for instance, not being alone, right? Trying not to be alone in your struggle or whatever, because like you said, life sometimes things don't go your way, right? And it helps to not literally not be alone. But you also strike me as the type of guy who says, like you just said, try to be the best version of yourself that you can. Right? Do not limit your full potential. Don't give yourself excuses. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Right? Even though life does like to throw a lot of curveballs at us from time to time, and it's easy to sort of feel sorry for yourselves. I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying 100%, 110%. And so this interview is great. Honestly, I mean, it's like you're an optimistic person, but you're also a realistic person. You know what I mean? And you like to admit and talk about certain things that I don't think we've had on this channel yet so far. You know what I mean? And so that sort of brings me to my next point. When it comes to positivity and negativity, you've already sort of given us a little bit about your views on that and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I've also heard this term recently. Is that like, what was it? Was it optimistic or productive or constructive positivity or something like that? I forget what it's called. But it's basically it kind of sums up like how I've been describing for like the past like 2 minutes or so, right? It blurs a line between optimism and like realism, right? But in the sense, okay, so I know I'm sort of broad here, so I'll narrow it down. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing wrong with being optimistic, and you should be, right? In some sense, everyone as a human being, we need that to function in our lives. We need that to strive forward and not be distracted or anything like that, right? So that's fine. But you also need to be focused, and you need to not be so optimistic that you are overlooking certain things. You know what I mean? And maybe taking into account other factors or whatever. Basically, what I'm saying is don't be naive. You know what I mean? Be focused. Be realistic. Make smart choices. You know what I mean? And all that stuff. And that's how I personally see it. Because I've dealt with. I'm not going to point out because I did have an experience with someone recently, but one of the issues that I had with that person was that they were sort of being very literal and only pointing out what they perceived to be negative traits about me. And I feel like that was clouding the rest of their judgment and view of me. You know what I mean? Barring this, I'm not going to say this person's name, but it's basically, a stranger, right? Someone I was meeting, for the first time or whatever. But the thing about that is, and I've had that kind of conversation with other people before, it's like for some reason people, especially people who don't know you, they will take the smallest thing about you, things that you don't even realize that you're doing or saying, and interpret that in like the worst possible way, right? They'll label you, basically like to label you as a negative person. And I don't personally think like that's a fair assessment of anybody, right? I mean, I don't personally consider myself to be a negative person. I guess I can be negative, but I can also be positive. You know what I mean? But what is your take on that? How do you view being a positive person versus
Hmm.
being a negative person? And would you consider yourself to be either one or both?
Sure, that's a good question. Um, I would classify myself as a calculated optimistic person. And why I say calculated is because you learn based on experience, and from experience, you can kind of play the chess game. I do think the naive part that you're addressing is to play the chess game smart. Life is going to be a chess game that you're playing. How you present yourself is going to affect what people say. From how you already presented yourself, you learn from those experiences of what people perceive of you. Say I wear a nice shirt, I dress well. What does that say about me? Versus, oh, I just come in with, I don't know, a t-shirt and sweatpants. Those things I've learned through experience, and I think each and every person has learned from that. And so I think entering any situation, I'm not going to say I'm fully optimistic and be like, yeah, I can do whatever I want, say whatever I want. I have to be calculated in a sense, basing that on experience, basing that on research, basing on the things that I've done. And then that optimism has to come in because I feel like, to me, that's the engine that's going to drive. Like that's going to boom. Like how I work like that. So I say I'm an optimistic person, and then a lot of things that people are saying to me that I've done, and also I am thinking. So I guess I say that I am doing this in a calculated, more intelligent way, rather than letting my emotions drive. Shoot, they said that. Okay, what am I gonna do? Just sit down and cry or something like that? Or oh, no, they said something great. I'm just gonna run on that and like disregard all the negative things that they might be saying, something like that.
Yeah, that's great, man. That is completely great. I absolutely this interview is very refreshing. I honestly think like guys, we're okay. First is today's Monday, so we're only on Monday, guys. You know what I mean? It's the beginning of the week, all that stuff. In case of the Mondays, all that stuff. But at the same time, I feel like this is a great way to start the week. You know what I mean? With this kind of interview. You know what I mean? Talking about, sort of like blurring the lines between, like positivity, negativity, but also bring in, like just like a dose or like a lot of doses of just real life, reality, realism. You know what I mean? Because no matter what you do, whether you're a positive person or if you're a pessimist, you exist within the sphere of reality, right? Like the outside, all the surroundings, all that stuff. It really kind of, it's not necessarily affected by your worldview. You know what I mean? Things happen regardless. So I think it is important to bring in the fact that yes, we all need to sort of be focused. You know what I mean? And like you said, be calculated. You know what I mean? Try to make educated, smart choices. You know what I mean? Choices that work for you, choices that will help you in the end with whatever it is that you're doing in life, whether it's personal or professional. You know what I mean? Like you said, like you can't, especially when you're more professional setting, going to work or whatever, or school even, or interview, you need to make a good impression. So like you said, you're not going to go in there, dressing all completely casual. You know what I mean? You're going to make a smart choice to look a certain way to make a good impression, all that stuff. So yeah, you know what I mean? I absolutely, like I said, I'm glad that we're doing this interview, Sonny. I really do. I
I
absolutely
think
do.
sorry. I guess just to add on to that, I think you mentioned a lot before about like how media can cloud our impressions or even provide judgment. I think another thing that we should do is we have to look past that, and also it's those mentors and the people that are above that really have gone through experience that we have to get the knowledge from. If we get our experience, our knowledge from media and more like shallower sources of things, that's what's going to cloud us. So I think what I'm trying to say is like reading books from people who have succeeded, listening to those people who have done actual success things rather than, oh, this is what the movies say, and so I will have to believe that. And it's like finding those key people that you trust is going to push you to actually think about how you should go about your life.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Like Sonny is saying, and like you said before in this interview earlier too, like other people are important. You know what I mean? Don't isolate yourself. You know what I mean? Especially if you're, depending on your age, if you're younger, you know what I mean? You're in school or you're, in the workforce, whatever. You know what I mean? Turn to other people. You know what I mean? For advice. People who are older than you. Never judge someone by their age. Never discount anyone by their age because at the very least, that means that they have more life experience than you. You know what I mean? And you can learn from them. You could ask them. Okay, I'm going through this whatever issue or whatever. Have you gone through it? What's your advice on it? All that stuff. You know what I mean? I know I've said certain things about like getting older, whatever, being in my 30s now, but yeah, getting older sort of comes in more life perspective. You know what I mean? You go through things inevitably. You go through things and you go through life experiences, and from that, you do learn from it, or at least you try to learn from it, right? So that's basically what we're saying here. Yeah, man, this is a great interview. Honestly, this is a very refreshing interview. And like I said, let's see what people here in the chat are saying. So life is too short to be negative. I completely agree. Although it's hard at times, but we try. Um, yep, gonna have faith. There you go. Absolutely. And then she's also here. Don't judge a book by its cover. 100%. 100%. Then hi, Michelle. Hi. So yeah, no, I think what you're saying is great, man. I mean, like, yeah, you do make a great motivational speaker, life coach, or whatever. I really do. I think it's great. I don't know if that was your intention or not coming onto this interview today, but I do feel like what you're saying, Sonny. Honestly, people need to hear. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I'm not going to go into details of it, but I've recently gone through some tough times or whatever, some disappointing things.
Mm.
But I've also talked to other people about it. You were saying, you know what I mean? Don't be alone. You know what I mean? Talk to other people. Tell them, hey, I'm going through a tough time right now. What's your take on this, right? And I've gotten, for the most part, I've gotten, emotional support. I mean, it's not like, a traumatizing thing or anything like that. But regardless, like you said, being around other people, especially people who know you a little bit better, right?
Mhm.
And all that stuff and are familiar with you and have seen you through both good and bad times. They're the ones who offer you support. You know what I mean? So just if you're watching this right now, if you have family or good friends, just sort of keep them in mind. You know what I mean? People do matter, even as you get older. I know it's tough for me. One thing I've said on the channel too is it's tough sort of keeping in touch with people as you get older. And I know that from experience because I've tried to reach out to other people, but whatever, people's lives or move on or whatever. But I still feel like, despite that, it's very important to at least keep a few good friends or mentors or family members there. You know what I mean? Because you really do not. Yes, self love is important, but don't underestimate the value of having someone else there, whether it's a loved one or a coworker or someone you trust. You know what I mean? And I think that's really, really important. And I would love to stress that in this channel going forward. You know what I mean? Self love, but also, no man or woman is an island. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that does not get said enough. I feel like we live in the era of quote unquote self love, right? And especially, I feel like, you know, this being, of course, the age of Bud Light or whatever, we also have things like online apps like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. But one of the downfalls, in my opinion, of having stuff like that is it sort of takes away the need for real human interaction, right? Like, just sort of like, I mean, stuff like this. Yes, this is different because we're doing an interview over live stream or whatever, so it's different. But I feel like, especially, I'm going to touch upon my own life and sort of get back to this interview really quickly. But it sort of relates to this. My question to you relates to this. So my what I'm saying is, like I said, I'm 34. I just turned 34 in February, and so I'm actually not 34. It's been a while now, but one thing that I've noticed, it's been like almost 12 years since I graduated college, right? Or originally, I graduated 2009, December 2009. So one thing I've noticed is that yes, people do move away, people do move on with their lives and all that stuff, and I can't really say that I really keep in touch or really have heard from a lot of the same people. You know what I mean? Like, I follow them. Isn't that ironic? Like, what do you think? Like, I personally think it's ironic that we have apps like Facebook that allow you to follow people, right? To see what they're doing, all that stuff. But when's the last time you actually heard from most of them, right? Like, when's the last time somebody, a buddy of yours or a classmate or whatever, a coworker even, someone from school, messaged you, right? DM'd you on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and said, hey, man, hey, Sonny, what's going on, all that stuff? You know what I mean? How you been? All that stuff. What have you been up to? Right? Because for me personally, that doesn't happen. And I
Mm.
don't know if it's a personal reflection or not, But I just want to know. I just want to ask someone else, like another human being that's not myself.
Yeah, sure.
Like, what's your experience with that? You know what I mean? So, would you mind opening up a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really good point. So for me, in terms of, I guess I'll start with following people and like the people like, for example, just like what I'm assuming is just like, oh, Facebook friends and like Instagram followers, like what you see on your newsfeed. Um, Honestly, I haven't got a lot of people like from a long time, hey, message me and say, what's up? Let's catch up. It's been a long time. I'm actually the one who's doing more of that and doing that sort of outreach. I'm more of an initiator, but I know that like that is just a character of me and that I want to keep in touch. But at the same time, I think there is, I call it like the art of making friends. I feel like you are in many different like places in your life. For example, college, you're there for 4 years, boom, you're off to another place. Boom, maybe you're there at a job for 2, 3 years, and then you move to another place. In those short amount of times, you're making different friends here and there. And okay, you make some college friends. Maybe 2 life stages from now, are they still even your friends? And so I feel like it's in each stage where you really have to jump from someone to be a good friend to a great friend. And like you can really tell when someone's a great friend rather than those regular, I guess, oh, that's where we do hang out here and there. And I myself, I guess, strive to build those great friendships. Or it's like, hey, I actually want to keep in touch. I want to have the intention that our friendship stays for a long time. And in terms of getting that to happen, it takes a lot of screening. I think that don't settle for, I don't know, just mediocre friends or something like that. But you have to settle for great people. And so I say like for my own like core group of people that I like, they're still from high school and college. I only talked to one person from high school and like 4 people from college. And for those people, they know they're my close friends and they will hit me up all the time. But that has to be built. It's not like I'm friends with everybody all the time. You have to build that community. And that's that core community that I feel like always will support you. Even if I'm not doing acting, even if I'm just having a barbecue, oh yeah, just come on over. They'll help support that. They'll send me a recipe. Hey, try this recipe out. That's not even related to acting, but they'll still attend like, oh, support me in my performances or support me in, oh, the film I'm filming or something like that. So those are the true friends here and there. At the same time, reaching out here and there, those are just opportunities where I see, hey, I think this person really would be great in my life, and I would want to, I don't know, have a great friendship with them. I'll go reach out, and that's kind of my answer. I think you're muted.
Sorry, bad habit. Yeah, no, that is a great. These are great responses, man. I mean, honestly, this is one of the best, probably one of the better interviews I've done in a long time. No disrespect to anyone else I've interviewed, but like, I feel like this interview, like I said before many times, is so refreshing because you're talking about subjects that actually could be kind of considered kind of touchy. You know what I mean? Like people, people not necessarily being, showing the same level of interest or enthusiasm. You know what I mean? In maintaining a friendship with you or connection or whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like people don't really want to have those kinds of conversations, right? Because maybe they just don't want to be your friends, or maybe they're just too busy, or maybe they're just kind of uncomfortable with telling you, guess what, man? Like it's just too hard. I got too many things going on. But for me personally, like I said, I the best years of my life were in college at ASU. Not necessarily the second time I went back to college, but the first time I graduated. Yeah, those are the best years for me. And I don't know if you could say I've necessarily come a long way, but I would say that my view of the world has changed since then based on my real world experiences with people. I've had a lot of experiences with people that I didn't expect to have. I've met a lot of people that I wouldn't, I guess, have normally expected to form friendships or relationship with. You know what I mean? Like I've done just you name it. I've kind of done it, but at the same time, it's a very mixed bag, and so that's why I say like, okay, college for me was personally the best years of my life, and I can honestly say it's probably the happiest time that I've been in. You know, but like I said, real life, live and learn. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's nice, and sometimes it's painful. You know, but anyway, so we are gonna wind this interview down pretty soon, the next 5 minutes. But I want to say, I guess, like, Sunny, for you, um, what am I trying to say? For you personally, going forward, and I know that you've stated your professional goals and aspirations and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But for you, just as a human being, I know again I use that word, so I'm sorry. I know it's kind of broad, but just like for Sunny Tang, right, or Sunny, right, the
Hmm.
person, who you are, and you know yourself best, right? No one else knows you best. You know you. In the next 5 years, what kind of growth or what kind of personal goals do you have for yourself? You know, do you look forward to? You know what I mean? That you sort of you've contemplated. You know what I mean? Whether it's yeah, I don't know. Just what sort of emotional maturity growth do you kind of expect for yourself? I don't know. That's kind of a broad question, but
Hmm. Okay. I think this is how I would say. I think right now, I think both of us we're still pretty young. I think there's a lot ahead of us, and because of that, these next 5 years is I call it routine setting, learning the right routine. I think in current society, it's there's a lot of stress about, hey, you need to have good health, good physical health, mental health, and everything. At the same time, there's a lot of stress saying you need to make money, do good, and have like perform and do things. And how do these two things really mesh? It has to be through a balance of a good routine. And I think like we're still young. We have a lot ahead of us. And I think with like that, in combined with this sort of, I say, entrepreneurial mindset, because I feel like acting for Asians is already entrepreneurial. Um, Doing something that doesn't really have a set routine, it's our job to find a routine. It's our job to find something that really helps us grow constantly, an environment to set ourselves to grow constantly. I think without setting a good foundation, you really can't go anywhere. And so this next 5 years, I have to say, I guess personal growth is really establishing what does that look like. What does that look like with anything? Pretty much, you can talk about what does it look like with food. What does it look like with money? What does it look like with friends? It's all these things of setting a good routine and a good foundation that you can build upon. Nothing sort of like goals and dreaming big. I kind of don't want it to be linear, but something exponential, something that I can build upon and really grow. That's what I would say.
I think that is a fantastic way to sort of and sort of conclude and end this interview on. I feel like yeah, man. I can honestly say this. I know we're live right now, but I don't really care. I wasn't expecting this kind of talk. I guess to have this kind of talk. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, especially live, where you can obviously see happening everything as it happens. I feel it's great. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it does at the same time. Like I know, I guys watching, I know I titled this stream, spotlighting Asian actors or whatever. But I feel like what Sunny has been saying, of course, it ties into being an Asian actor, right, or being any actor, right? But
Mm-hmm.
especially focusing on the title of the stream, which is actors of color. I feel like Sunny is saying, you need to have a plan. You do need to have focus. You know what I mean? You need to build upon established goals and grow from there. You know what I mean? Grow as a person. Grow. Pursue your goals. But along the way, you're gonna learn different things. You're gonna learn different things about the industry. You're gonna learn things about yourself. You know what I mean? You're gonna learn things about other people. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I can definitely relate to, not just in the film industry, but like in real life. You know what I mean? A lot of what happens to you in real life is outside of your control, and so a lot of your things is a lot of from your perspective is all what's the word, reactionary. There you go,
Mm-hmm.
reactionary. And you can either choose to move forward, or you can let something like disappointment, or whether it's heartache or professional disappointment, sort of defeat you, right, or in that moment, or you can choose to grow from it. You know what I mean? And you can choose to learn from it and just keep moving forward. And I think that I know I'm probably not saying exactly what you said, Sonny, but I feel like all this advice, especially what you've been saying, is very important. You know what I mean? I feel like it's very important, especially in the world that we live in right now, which is kind of tumultuous. You know what I mean? With BLM and Stop Asian Hate, and Bud Light or whatever. And people just trying to stay alive, and sort of keep their heads on, basically straight. It is. We do need focus. We need organization. We need structure, especially during chaotic times like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say, man, thank you. It's been an honor having you on this channel. I feel like this conversation went really well
Yeah. No
because
problem.
yeah, because we didn't just, I know, we talked ahead of time about, what exactly will be discussed or whatever. But I feel like this conversation went in a very positive, productive way too. You know what I mean? And I feel
Yeah.
like you didn't, you weren't just speaking to me, right? You're speaking to
Mhm.
the audience. You're speaking to everyone watching. And like I said, I don't know who's watching this. I don't know you at all. I don't even know your names, all that stuff. But I can tell you right now, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, this advice is important to you. It's going to be important to you whether you're young or older, or whatever you're doing in life. If you're in a good spot or in a bad spot, especially if you're in a tough or bad spot right now, you know what I mean. Take this advice. You know what I mean. You don't have to apply it all at once, but
Mhm.
just consider it. Consider using it and try it. You know what I mean? Because like you're saying, I'm gonna end this right now, but positivity is important, but you need to be focused too. You know what I mean? You need to have a plan for yourself. You need to make smart choices. That's one thing I've said too. But you need to make smart choices. You know what I mean? And we're not just talking like book smart. We're talking just use your own sense. Sense what works for you. Sense what you need to do in that situation for yourself to make whatever you want to make happen for yourself happen. You know what I mean? And all that stuff. And no man is an island, no woman's an island, all that stuff. Basically, if you're just catching this right now, we are ending this interview now. But I'm with my guest Sunny Tang right now, and this has been one of the more realer interviews out there. Real in the sense that what he said, everything was very true. It wasn't necessarily a rant or quote unquote pessimistic or whatever, but it was he dropped Sunny dropped a lot of really valuable gems and nuggets of information. And so yeah, I just want to say that, Sonny. So before we go, again, thank you very much for stopping by. It'd be great to have you on again.
Yeah.
And like I said, but yeah, before we go, for everyone watching at home, if people want to follow you or get in touch with you, where can they find you, sir?
Um, they can find me on Instagram, and yeah, I guess I can shoot you my or I can give you my information. You can put in the link or whatnot. But
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's where they can find me. And then
Okay.
yeah, feel free to message me if you have anything. Yeah, I
All
can.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
man.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, and I
No, no.
appreciate. Or I guess I want to, like I say, like thanks for having me on board. I really appreciate it. Being able to work with you before, and now to just have another chance to be able to talk to you and also talk to the audience. And
And, and
um,
and like I yeah, and thank you, Sonny. And again, I see the chat has kind of died down now, but guys, don't be afraid to chime in. You know what I mean? Like, like I was saying, like this interview has been very invaluable. You know what I mean? Like okay, like Sonny is not especially old, right? He's not old yet, which is a good thing. You know, what I mean? He's still a pretty young guy. I know you're younger than me, but at the same time, I feel like what you know and what you said has been very helpful. You know what I mean? And
mhm,
across the spectrum. So again, Sonny, thank you very much. Also, I know that I do. We everyone watching on a more sort of AMBW channel related note. Sonny started in my he started in he helped me make my first short film for this channel, which I will also include the link for in the video description. But also, Sonny, like I said, part two is coming, so we will
mhm.
be working on that either sometime late this year or early next year. But hopefully everything is safe also. But for sure that'll be happening. So I know a lot of y'all have been asking where's part two. It's coming. We will do it. It's coming. So again, guys, if you're watching this, if you watched it the whole way through, thank you. That's the whole goal. Please watch all my videos the whole way through because they're awesome. And if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, like, share. And yeah, like I said, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to my guest Sunny, and I'm actually yeah, we're doing more interviews and more topics, everything like that. So stay tuned. But other than that, see ya.